Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. Welcome back to another live show. And actually, Brad, welcome aboard. We're going to try first time integrating a guest into the live show. So Brad will be the guinea pig. If this does not function like it should, I apologize in advance. You know, it's just an opportunity for refinement. So what I'm going to do, Brad, I'm going to go into my live streaming tool, and I'm going to try to generate an invitation for you. Now, I've never done this, so let's see what happens here. Let's see. I am figuring this out on the fly. It'll be a network camera. Rendezvous session, create rendezvous session. Okay, so this tool that I use is Wirecast, and they call it Rendezvous. Okay, it says remote participants can join your webcast using Wirecast Rendezvous. Give them the unique URL below. They will need to visit using a compatible web browser. You will receive a notification when a participant has joined the session, and you'll be able to add them as a source through the Wirecast Rendezvous menu. So we're going to give this a whirl, Brad. I'm going to shoot you a link. And let's see, you said you messaged me on, let's see. Yeah, Trelp, thanks for the heads up, man. I've got some background task running, and I think it jacked up my audio sync. I appreciate that. Okay, so Brad, I'm going to send you this link. And again, everyone, this is the first time integrating a guest into a live show, so I don't yet know what to expect. Okay, Brad, there's your message. Let's see, here we go. So Brad, I sent you the link. And again, you're the guinea pig. But in theory, what should happen when you click the link from a compatible browser and go through whatever, I should be able to go through and add a Wirecast Rendezvous menu. So while you're clicking the link, what I'm going to do is set up a, let's just call it kind of like a picture-in-picture type deal, and we're going to see how this works. And if this works well, this is a component that I'd love to have going forward on a lot of live shows, because it's just more engaging to be able to interact with others. Let's see, what do we have here? And I got a little bit of sun, man. I was cutting down I sawed down I had a peach tree, and it was rotten. It was just, the roots were rotten. The roots had rotted, and just, it was just horrible shape. So I had to saw it up and haul off the pieces of the tree, and then I had to dig it up. But when you dig a tree up, you don't just dig a tree up, you got to dig all the roots. So I had to dig, saw the roots, and then pull all this stuff out of the ground. So like, I'm super, super sore right now. It's crazy. But it was a good workout. I needed it. Okay, so Brad's trying to figure out the live streaming thing there, and I'm going to add a let's see, I'm going to add a rendezvous session. This ought to be pretty interesting. Rendezvous session, create rendezvous session. You will receive a notification when the participant has joined the session. So I guess what's going to happen in my live streaming tool that I use Wirecast, when Brad joins, my expectation is that I'll receive a notification, and then I'll be able to add. We'll see how this works. It ought to be pretty cool. Oh, man. Brad, we're in no rush, sir. Take your time, and if I don't see your pop up within this streaming tool, just message me here, and we'll we'll troubleshoot and try to figure it out. So, Hybrid Life, you're right. Submariner, man, 114060. I like this one a lot, man. Yeah, it's hard to beat the no date because, well, you don't have to deal with the date. And, you know, as silly as it sounds, I mean, but, you know, aside from the symmetry, the symmetrical aspects of the piece, you know, obviously it doesn't have a cyclops. That's a complaint with the Submariner date. And then also, you know, you don't, and this sounds stupid, but it's one less thing to mess up, you know. It's one less complication. I mean, there's nothing less complicated than a timepiece that doesn't even have a date. Well, I guess if they made it to where it didn't have a sweeping seconds hand, you know, that could be less complicated. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty minimalist. Hybrid Life says, I'd love to join the live show sometime. Hey, man, if you want to try this one, and Brad's trying to log in now, message me, facebook.com/IrixGuy. And I mean, you don't have to join tonight if you don't want to, but if you want to try it out, message me on facebook.com/IrixGuy. And then what I'll do is reply with the link. I'm using a live streaming tool called Wirecast, and I've never tried this, but in theory, what should happen is that you should receive the link from me when I message you on Facebook, and then when you click it, then I should receive some sort of notification within the Wirecast live streaming tool that'll enable me to add you and or other guests. And that begs the question, how many people concurrently can I have with this tool? That's something I'm going to have to research offline, but you know, I think 2 people would be a very safe test for the initial time trying incorporating guests into a live show. You don't have a Facebook? Well, I'd ask for your email, but I don't want to in a live YouTube thing. I don't know if you'd want to give that out. I mean, unless you have Gmail and you want to say what your Gmail username is, and if you want to do that, I can toss you an email to that Gmail address that contains this link. I mean, again, that's completely up to you, man. Yeah, you know, it's funny, you don't have Facebook, man. I have contemplated, you know, if it wasn't for the marketing aspects of this channel, I'd contemplated abandoning Facebook just because they've irritated me, man. Facebook blocked IrixGuy.com. Instagram blocked IrixGuy.com as well. It makes no sense. Let me see if I should have your email here. Let's see. Do you remember the subject line of your email? And I'll search it. I'll search for it, rather. Oh, here we go. I've got it right here, man. I'm not going to say your email address out loud, obviously. Okay, so I'm going to send an email right now with this link. Let's see, it'll be just a second, man. I'm going to shoot you this link. Yeah, this ought to be really cool, man. I am cautiously optimistic about this working. And, you know, I've had nothing but, so far I've had nothing but good luck with this Wirecast tool. And, of course, I pay an annual subscription, which I feel is worth it. I wish they would do away with the subscription because I'm cheap. But, you know, it is what it is. Let's see, I'm shooting this over now. So this ought to come to your inbox here in a second. And all this is a link. Telestream.net is the company that owns the Wirecast product. And the Wirecast product is what I'm using right now for this live stream. So I just, I want to let you know what that URL is. It's telestream.net. That's the company that okay, I got the code. I'm about to shoot it over to you, Hybrid Life. Let's see here. Well, I say code. It's just a URL. It's not a code. Oh, looks like they got an iOS app. That's cool. Let's see. Copy link. Again, first time. This could be sketchy as everything, but you know, we don't know till we try, huh? Let's see. Apologize everybody else that's tuned in. We're going to do a first step for IrixGuy's Adventure channel, and that is incorporating live guest. So we're going to see how this pans out, man. Okay, so Hybrid Life, you should see any second now. You should see the email from me containing the link to join the live show, face on video with audio. Brad says mine is joining. Awesome. Let me see, Brad, if I see any sort of acknowledgement within the wire. Oh, no, I don't. Okay. Now, here's what I've got to do is educate myself on where is Brad. See, this is what I don't know. Brad, I don't know if it's going to tell me that you've joined. I tell you what, when it joins, when it goes through the joining sequence or whatever, just let me know, and then I'll check in the Wirecast app. And what I'm also going to do is I'm pulling up a tutorial for Wirecast Rendezvous tutorial. I'm pulling that up so I know what I'm doing on my end. We'll have to see here what happens. I haven't seen anything on my end yet to acknowledge that you've joined. It says waiting to join the conversation. Okay, cool. So what I need to do, and I'm in the tool right now, I've got to figure out, let's see, I'm going to try to add you. Okay, so I'm looking in the, okay, Wirecast add rendezvous participant. Okay, I'm searching for this. Okay, here we go. See, I think I'm going to add a new video source. That video source being you. It says remote participants can join your Wirecast using Wirecast Rendezvous. Give them the unique URL below. So I did that. They will need to visit using compatible browser. You did that. You will receive a notification when a participant has joined the session. I have not received a notification. And you will be able to add them as a source through the Wirecast Rendezvous menu. So I need to find where this Wirecast Rendezvous menu is. That's what I need to find. So I'm searching for that right now. Wirecast Rendezvous menu. Okay, so when I find this, okay, here we go. I found the tutorial guide that I need now. Copy link, open the Wirecast Rendezvous dashboard. Click OK after copying the link. Okay, here we go. I think I've almost figured it out, man. Oh, that's what I did. I didn't click OK. Now I'm about to do it. So I'm in here. And now After a participant has joined, they will be available to be added as a Wirecast. Users with studio license are allowed to have 2 external. Pro are allowed to have 7. So try, if you don't mind, man, try Brad, try to join again, because I've got the menu up now. If it still says waiting to join, disconnect and reconnect, because I failed to open a menu on my end. Andrea, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard, Andrea. Welcome aboard. We're doing something unique tonight. We're trying to incorporate live guests. So during this live show, my expectation is that I'll be able to get both Brad and Hybrid Life face on video. So this is going to be a first ever experience. There you go. So that's what I'm waiting for now is a notification in here that people have joined. They'll be available to be added as a Wirecast source. And Brad, I think this is the link that I sent you. I'm pasting it again into Facebook. I think it's the same. Let me see. No, actually it's not, man. Okay, so Brad, and then Hybrid Life, if this works for Brad, then I'll do the same thing for you. Hybrid Life, or Brad, I sent you a different link. For whatever reason, when I went into this tool, it's got a different link now. So try that second link that I just sent to your Facebook at 9:53 p.m. New York, and see if that one works. If it does, I'm expecting you to pop up. That's my expectation, at least. I've never used this. I tell you, man, this extra memory, I upgraded from 16 gigs to 32 gigs. Okay, allow. Okay, we've got a notification popping up here, so let's see. Oh, add Brad to Rendezvous. Here we go. Oh, there's Brad, man. Let me, Brad, I'm going to get my earbud, and we're going to see if we can pull you into this live stream, man. Because I'll have to have this so we don't get all the feedback from the, let's see if this works here. Here we go. I've got Okay, can everybody hear? Can you hear me now? Is the audio fixed? Can you hear me okay now? I think I may have just fixed the audio. Let's see if let's see. Okay, it says master mute. So I inadvertently clicked the master mute through your computer or headphones when it does not affect your viewers, what your viewers can hear. Okay, so you can hear me now. So we're figuring this out. So Brad, if you can, man, go ahead and try to rejoin that second link, because I think I figured out what's going on. So Brad, if you can click the second link and Hybrid Life, I'm going to work with you next. I'm just going to try to debug this with one person first. I'm going to try to debug it with Brad. If I can get Brad on, my expectation is that what I'll then be able to do is send Hybrid Life an updated link, because Hybrid Life, the first link I sent you, I just discovered that's actually not a good link. So let's get Brad in here, make sure that works, make sure you can see and hear Brad, and then what I'm going to do is design an interface where hopefully you'll be able to see all three of us during this live show. So it ought to be kind of a cool thing if this works. I appreciate all y'all bearing with me, man. This is a first time incorporating guests into this live show using Wirecast, so it's a little bit different animal here. Let's see if I can do. I'm going to delete this right here. So it's no longer valid. Delete shot. Yeah, and Rendezvous says waiting for connections. Rendezvous, again, is the tool that I'm using to bring in the live guests. So I've got my Rendezvous tool open, so let me shoot, actually Hybrid Life, let me shoot you the link, the updated link to Rendezvous, because the one that I previously sent was, apparently it was invalid. I was able to get Brad in, but I didn't realize what was going on with the audio until it was too late. So Hybrid Life, this is coming over your way, man. Be just a second. I'm about to hit send on that email. It's like most anything else, man. Once you set it up the first time, this ought to become very cookie cutter, but it's not the most user-friendly tool. I mean, I hate to admit that, but it's definitely not the most user-friendly tool. So I'm shooting this over to you right now, Hybrid Life. And let's see. It'll be just a second. I've got to pull it up on my phone and then copy it over. So basically what happens when you join, I see you in kind of like a waiting room. And then after I see you in the waiting room, within the live streaming tool that I use, I'm able to select you and add you as a face on video participant. So we'll see how this works. It's coming your way right now, Hybrid. Let's see. I'm just going to put subject line updated link. So let me know just in the YouTube chat or whatever if I don't see you first in this interface, and I'll try to add you to the show. Okay, Brad's back. I see Brad, you're back. Brad, let me try to add you this time, man. I think I've got. Let me see if I can add you. Here we go. Okay, I'm adding Brad, and what I'm going to do is add Brad to the. I'm working on, on the interface on the back end here. I'm going to add you as a shot. So we're going to add Brad, and what should happen, Brad should pop up in a, let's just call it a PIP, a picture-in-picture here. So let's see if this works. Okay, I think this may work. Let's see. So now we should see Brad in the top right corner. The question is, can we hear Brad? So let me change. Okay, so audio is Brad Hendo and video. So everybody out there on the live stream, can you see Brad? Can you hear Brad? I did a little picture-in-picture layout. He should be towards the top right of the video.
I can't hear you, unfortunately.
And if Brad, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
The question is, can we hear Brad? So let me change.
Within the live
Okay, so audio
stream,
is Brad Hendo
preview
and video. So everybody out there on the live stream,
now I can go in and add.
Can you see Brad? Can you hear Brad? I did a little picture-in-picture layout. He should be towards the top right of the video.
I can't hear you,
And
unfortunately.
Brad, if you're speaking, the question is, can we hear Brad? So let me change.
Yeah, and Brad, for the audio source, I show on my end here. I show your audio source. So
now I can go in and add.
Can't hear you, but we both got AirPods. AirPods, rather.
Everybody out there on the live now I can go in and add.
So let's see.
Can you see Brad?
And you're not muted within the interface, and your video is not blanked out, so I should be able to.
Of the video.
I would think I should be able to hear you. This is weird.
Brad, if you're speaking, the question is, can we hear
Hybrid Life, did you get the second link? Just curious if you did, if you can try joining too. I want to know if.
I've got the YouTube muted, but I can't hear you from the Rendezvous
for
software.
troubleshooting something on my end.
I can only hear you through YouTube, and it repeats itself a few
well.
seconds later.
Again, the first time trying this, so.
Let's see.
And everybody watching, I'm back in the YouTube chat. Nobody can hear Brad, can you?
So I should be able to.
You can only hear me, or can you hear Brad as well?
This is weird. So Brad, if you're speaking, the question is, can we hear Hybrid Life, did you get the second link? Just curious if you did, if you can try joining.
Hey Brad, can you hear me now, man?
I've got the YouTube muted.
Can I hear you?
But I can't hear you from the Rendezvous
for
software.
troubleshooing something on my
I can only hear you through YouTube, and it repeats itself a few seconds later.
Again, the first time trying.
I want to know if.
I've got the YouTube muted.
And everybody watching on that. You can only hear me, or can you hear
There's
Brad?
an echo. There's a delay and an echo.
Hey Brad, can you hear me now, man?
I've got the YouTube muted.
Can I hear you?
But I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
I can only hear you through the YouTube audio. I can't hear you through Rendezvous software. So it's still not working correctly. I can only hear you when I play YouTube on my end. I can't hear you through Rendezvous.
Can you hear me now through Rendezvous? So I can hear Brad talking. I don't know, Brad, am I hearing you from YouTube, or
Hey Brad, can you hear me now, man?
am I hearing you through Rendezvous?
Can you hear me?
I can hear
I
you.
can hear you now.
I can only hear you through the YouTube audio. I can't hear you through Rendezvous software. So
Okay.
it's still not working correctly.
Well, I wonder if
I can only hear you when I play YouTube on my end. I can't hear you through Rendezvous. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now through Rendezvous?
so. Everybody out there, the viewers that are out there on YouTube, and I apologize for the screeching.
Talking. I don't know, Brad, am I hearing you?
Can you hear everybody on YouTube? Can you hear Brad and I both? Do you still hear the screeching, or do we?
It's not working on Rendezvous. It's not working.
Okay.
If I mute my YouTube, I can't hear you at all on Rendezvous.
Weird. Let's see. There's got to be something in here. So now I'm in the Rendezvous interface, and I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, that was bad. I had my.
So
I had my audio
everybody out there, the viewers that are out there on YouTube, and I apologize for the screeching.
I don't know, Brad, am I hearing you?
Can you hear everybody on YouTube? Can you hear Brad and I both? Do you still hear the screeching, or do we?
It's not working.
Okay.
If I mute my YouTube.
Something in here. So now I'm in the rendezvous interface.
I'll click
And
out of
I'm
this and try to
trying to
rejoin
figure
the
out-
link here.
Okay. So can everyone, Brad's clicking out, he's going to join back in. Can everyone hear me now? Is there any, and again, I apologize for the noise. We're testing this, bringing a guest in, but does everything sound normal now with just me speaking? Do you hear any feedback or echo or anything? Because see, I could hear and see Brad through the back end interface, but when I incorporated him into YouTube, I was getting, even though I'm using earpods and he was using AirPods rather, something weird was going on. So Mike, does everything right now at 10:10 p.m. New York City, 10:10 Eastern time, does everything at this point in time sound, do I sound clear? Do you hear any echo or anything, or is it all? I think, Brad, do you have your speakers on? Do you have computer speakers on by chance? Okay. Can you, Brad? Can you put your mic and your audio through your AirPod, so it's not going through your computer speaker? Okay. Yeah, I can hear you fine, man. I can hear you. Yeah, it sounds good. I don't hear any echo right now. Okay. Okay, let me try. Can you hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me now? How about now? Okay, maybe that didn't go through. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I can hear you great now. Yes. Mine I switched to within the Rendezvous app, I just switched to AirPods audio, which will be my AirPods. So I think you nailed it on the head, Brad. I think that's the root cause. Now let's see. So I can hear Brad. Brad can hear me. Andrea, Mike, can everyone on this live show, can you hear me okay? Do you hear any echo? And then when Brad speaks here in a second, can you hear Brad, or are we all in here okay? Oh, actually, you disappeared. Now, okay, Brad, you should be at 10:13 p.m. Eastern. Everybody should see and be able to hear Brad now. Can everybody hear and see Brad in the top right?
It shows a question mark on my screen on the top right. It shows like there's no video.
It should, the live view now, I had to toggle something because when you reconnected, I had to reconnect the video source, but you should be live on YouTube right now.
You see it now.
Let's ask Andrea. She's one of the usuals as well. So Brad, can you hear me okay on the YouTube now?
Well, I'm not listening to you through YouTube because the audio, it's off and it echoes. So I'm just listening to you through Rendezvous.
Okay.
I hear you fine. It's good right now. I don't know what my audio sounds like on YouTube though.
No, your audio is crystal clear on when I'm hearing it through Rendezvous. Mike, so Mike, you're able to hear at 10:15 Eastern. You're able to hear Brad talking as well through YouTube. He's going to confirm for us. Man, sorry this was such a mess to get it.
Oh, that's fine.
Appreciate you tuning in, man. This is cool to have. So I think what we can do with this, and we can chat about whatever drone stuff. That's all good. My expectation with this is what we should be able to do. When I see you here, and actually I'll pull out my network camera in a second and show everybody. But I've got all these different views. So the view that I see where I'm in front of the green screen, that's one shot. And then the other shots, I've got like an intro clip, when the show's starting, and then I've got the outro. And then I've got Brad, so you're your own clip, and then I'm able to layer you in and, in the show. So I could make you full screen as well. So check this out. You're about to go full screen. So if I do this.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, so I started out probably 4 or 5 years ago with the Parrot, the original Parrot AR drone 2.0. And then so I bought that off Amazon for probably $200-300 back then. And then that's close to the time when the Phantom 3, when the Phantom 3 was announced, before that line, and then when the Parrot Bebop was announced. And that's when I was debating on what to buy. And I ended up getting the Parrot Bebop, and then I bought so I bought that, flew that, realized it wasn't enough. In the meantime, I started following your channel back then. I'm not sure when the Phantom 3 came out. I forget what year. Maybe 2016, 2015 back then. And then, so I ended up actually I bought the Phantom 3 4K. So it had 4K camera, but its transmission quality wasn't as good. And that's when I knew that the drones definitely was something I was interested in as far as the video quality, and the Phantoms definitely outdid Parrot's drones in numerous ways. But I've slowly upgraded. I've bought the Spark, got the Mavic Air. In the meantime, I've sold off actually all of my drones. So I've sold the original Parrot AR drone. I've sold the Bebop. I've sold my Phantom off. I've sold my Spark off recently. About a month ago, I sold the Spark off, and then I sold my original Mavic Air. My current lineup is the.
So Brad, out of the Mini and the Zoom, what's your favorite drone and why? Out of those two.
Well, I ended up with those two. Well, I probably told you months ago. I bought the Mini when I booked a trip to Thailand back in January, and I was supposed to travel in May to Thailand for about a 10-day trip, and I bought the Mini because it'd be perfect. And with that, I realized the transmission quality of the Mini is much better than the Spark or the original Mavic Air. And despite the video quality being a little less, obviously, with the 2.7K, the transmission was much more reliable. I fly the Zoom all the time. The Mini's just kind of a travel, smaller drone for just when need be. But my next hope is to upgrade to the whatever the next big drone from DJI is. I'm trying to hold off. I've recently started up my own side business with it. Not profitable yet, still in the early stages. But I've sold some of my older drones off to save, to upgrade, to realize that I don't need every drone either. Just trying to clear stuff out and declutter as well. But yeah, I've gone through a lot. I've actually sold my last 2 drones. I've sold the Mavic Air for 500 and the Spark for about 225, both within the last month. Both of those are 2 and 3-year-old drones, so it's a pretty good return in my look.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, man. It's like most anything else, whether it's for pleasure and or business. It's like something new comes out, and you just have that sense of urgency in your head to try to get it. And it makes one wonder, based upon what you just said about the Mavic Mini, better transmission range, this, that, and the other. That's to the T what I felt about the Mavic Mini. It's great, but could they give us a better camera? Could they give us a 4K camera? And that begs the question: do you think the DJI might release let's just call it a Mavic Mini Pro, that would be basically the same platform but have a more capable camera? Do you think that'll ever happen?
I think they'll continue the cycle where they'll upgrade probably the Mavic 2 next, and then they'll recycle the Mini out in another year or so, and then they'll getting on to a year or 2 for the Mavic Air. They'll keep rotating that 3 drone cycle basically. Maybe every 6 to 8 months on a new drone release, but every 2 or 3 years each drone is slowly upgraded, so nothing overtops each other.
Well, with the Mavic Air 2 that recently released, with it being such a solid performer so far, do you think that that's a drone that may cannibalize the sales of Mavic 2 Pro? And do you think that it may suggest that, when we see Mavic 3 or whatever they're going to call it, do you think that it's going to be an exceptionally different drone, something we haven't seen yet, radically better than the Mavic 2 Pro?
As far as the camera, I'm thinking, I don't know what they'll do with the camera. It's almost, if they don't make an optical zoom camera and a 1-inch, I'm not sure how much better they can make it in both ways. You can make it a 4-time zoom, but without a 1-inch, the Mavic Air 2 is, really good in all means. I don't have it myself, but that's just because I'm trying to save money and realize I don't realistically need it right now, as well as saving for other financial reasons, but I'm not sure. I think they're just going to slowly upgrade each drone, every 9 months probably. There'll be a new drone release, is my guess.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much on point with that, and to keep things honest for everyone, and that's something I always like to do with this channel. Even though I'll go out on a limb and say that Mavic Air 2, based upon my past however many weeks it's been, 3 or 4 weeks, I'd have to look at my calendar, but I will confidently say that Mavic Air 2 is my favorite drone on the market today. But even though I'll make that claim, I will say if you've got a Mavic 2 Pro or a Mavic 2 Zoom, the upgrade is probably not worth it. I mean, it's great if you don't have a drone now. I would go with Mavic Air 2, but it's one of those deals where like you said, DJI is going to continue to release new drones, better drones, this, that, and the other. And I'm hoping, something that I've been fearful of is, and we saw that stagnant period, and I think that was before. I don't know if you remember when was it Mavic Pro Platinum and then the Phantom 4 Obsidian. Remember those drones? They kind of came out and they had quieter props and they had insignificant updates.
Actually, I never had the original Mavic. That was the one I really wanted. And actually, after seeing like Casey Neistat's videos and controversial, he's the best YouTuber as far as his daily vlogging style. But yeah. I wanted it since then. Never got it because I never. I was still in college, and then money-wise, spending $1,200, $1,000 on a drone didn't seem practical back then. And now I'm like, yeah, my next drone I'm probably going to spend whatever, $1,500 on the Mavic 3, whatever it costs, who knows, but now I've invested into it as far as starting a business and whatnot.
And so you mentioned you're a college graduate. And you mentioned this, and again, this is a live show, so don't obviously don't feel obligated to comment about any of this if you don't want to. But that's kind of a fascinating thing you just said. So you've graduated college, you've got a business. Is this something you feel is going to become your full-time gig out of college? Or are you looking for a typical I'm an older guy. I'm 40.
I do have a full-time job currently. I've done various jobs throughout hotels and restaurants. I currently work at a car rental place. I hope to eventually make it at least a side business where it can just fund the hobby itself. If I can make a few $1,000s here and there to at least fund the hobby to continue flying and take pictures and, a living, I don't know if that's realistic, at least at my point, but, it's enough to make money on the side and just to slowly grow, a brand through social media and just to keep funding the hobby,
I think that's really cool, and it's funny you said the hotels and all that. One of my best friends in college, he was in hotel and restaurant management, and now he is a special agent, and he works, and for security reasons, I can't mention which politician he works for, but basically he was based in the United States, and now he's in Egypt. So, it's funny, the college journey, it provided a lot of value, and I think today, and I strongly encourage everyone, especially, I'm pushing 40, man. I'm an old dude, but looking at the business climate today, I think that we've got a huge upside potential for the drone industry, especially with the stuff that we've seen, and not super recently, but the Lancer, or is it Lancer or whatever, where you can go into the app like AirMap or
Lance authorization. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Have you used that in the real world yet?
So obviously not for clients, but so I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, is where I'm based out of, and
Budweiser.
I live. What's that?
I said that's the Budweiser Brewing Company place, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, I can screen share. I don't know exactly how. I've got to look into it. Somehow it gives me an option to screen share. I'd say on my business Facebook page, there's a good drone picture over the brewery, which is actually, that's the very restricted airspace downtown. It's not because of the brewery. It's because there's a landing strip on the other side of the river, actually in Illinois. But so I've used it as far as I use it through Kitty Hawk. I'm still slowly trying to gain, learn that, as well as Drone Deploy and a few other apps as far as on that, I guess, more commercial side and whatnot. But I've requested it's fairly easy through Kitty Hawk.
Yeah, I found, and I used Kitty Hawk and AirMap, and I've only done it once so far. But the approval within Kitty Hawk was almost immediate. I mean, it was incredible how quickly that arrived. I found in AirMap, at least from the iOS app, it seemed like drawing out the radius of my flight seemed to be a little bit more streamlined in AirMap than it was in Kitty Hawk.
Kitty Hawk just seems to give you kind of like a bubble that you. Like a circle that you have to kind of expand or I guess compress or so. But I mean, I'm slowly trying to figure those out. Now, I graduated college back in 2017, as well as recently moved out on my own and trying to figure out other financial means. So I work 40 hours a week, right now it's an 8 to 4. Not ideal, but and I still try to do some YouTube on the side. I'm not doing that as much as I'd like, just because practicality of filming, and I live in a condo, so I don't have a yard to go just quickly fly the drone in or anything like that.
Right.
But
I think you're onto something. I think it is, running. And I can speak from experience, and I won't mention the company's name, but I was 10 years with a Fortune 100 company. and you're talking about, right out of college, you've got this career path, and your expectation is that, oh, well, I got the college degree, I'm going to do this, that, and the other, and 10 years into that, and no hard feelings, and would never mention a company's name or any of the individuals. I liked them all, but 10 years into it, it's like, oh, we're restructuring, and acquisition, and then the people that they acquired, then managerially they took over. Long story short, we're going to outsource X number of jobs, and it was 1,000+ jobs, and mine was one of them. And when that happened, I said, you know what? It's a good thing that I started dabbling with YouTube, and YouTube found me by mistake. It was a cruise ship video, but I've been dabbling with that for a few years, and when I got cut, I said, you know what? I'm going to make this work. And all power to you, man. Aerial business, YouTube business, anything you can do. You've always got that college degree to fall back on, but we're in a different world now.
The drone industry isn't going away anytime soon. Whether it's have this backbone as Amazon, and it could be 15, 20 years, but drones are going to be a streamlined delivery method eventually, whether you like them or not. Eventually, it's going to be versus 2-day shipping. It's going to be a 2-hour shipping, with drones. And
oh yeah,
practical. So some way of, putting some business platform out there as far as a background with drones, as well as keeping things updated through like LinkedIn and the professional end of social media and whatnot like that. Having some background and more experience and knowing the rules and everything like that. Drones aren't going away. I don't think they're going to be a staple eventually. It'll be like the iPhone.
Well, and I strongly agree, and I think there's going to be, in the software space, you often refer to stuff as middleware, and I think in this upcoming industry, what we're going to see is, some sort of middleware of sorts. Except the middleware will be the people that have a really deep understanding of the drones, the drone regulations. They stay current with everything, and they can kind of be the consultant between the big whatever company that's providing drone delivery services and the customers. And kind of like an accountant is for taxes. You want to make sure your taxes are done properly. You want to make sure they're triple, quadruple checked or whatever. Go to a CPA. I think there's going to be professions that'll be created in the near future that will be that type of, I wouldn't say a liability shelter, but that type of middle ground that will be essential, because all of these people, these business people, they're not going to have the time to know the laws and the tech. They're not going to care to know the laws and the tech. It's people that are early adopters like us, and we're still early adopters, by the way, that are early adopters like us and see where this is going. That'll be very valuable.
10 years from now, I always joke with my niece. She's like 3 years old, and she likes them, and she's kind of fearful, but she'll watch me fly it on my iPhone. She'll watch the screen and see her and see her mom and whatnot like that, and she likes it. She thinks it's cool. And now if it gets a little close, she's a little timid, but the joke is in 15, 20 years that could be what she's taking to high school.
Yeah. No, it's going to happen. We've got a comment from let's see. Mike says, have a question about the Mavic Air 2. And you know what I learned, and Brad, this is awesome that you tuned in, because what this has taught me on this show, what I need to do is put a, let's just call it a chat monitor. I need to put a screen up in front of me so I can read the viewers' comments, because we're talking to each other on camera, but what I'm missing is what's down here on my laptop while we talk. Mike Rochester says, I just bought the Mavic Air 2. I'm a bit worried. Don't know if there could be something wrong with it. Any idea? Immediately get interference. Seems Mavic Mini went further for me. So, Brad, you want to respond? Because you've got both the Mini and the Mavic Air, or you had both the Mavic Mini and the Mavic Air, right?
Yeah, I don't have the Mavic Air 2. Let's see.
Yeah, he was just saying Air. Oh, no, actually, he said Air 2.
It could be if you're close to possibly a cell tower. Those put out a lot. I'd say I know the Air 2 controller should be much better as far as keeping your antennas in the correct direction. I'm not too certain as far as I wouldn't be worried of sending it back. I don't think it's a hardware issue. It's probably, I don't know how many times it's done that when you've started it up, but I most likely software, whether it's recalibrating it, factory resetting it. I don't believe it's hardware. But I don't have the Air 2 either, so.
Yeah, and I'll say the difference, having owned the original Mavic Air and then the Air 2 that Mike just mentioned, the Air 2 is essentially, it's an upgraded version of it's the OcuSync that's, it's, to my knowledge, it's even better than the OcuSync that's in the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom. So, with the original Mavic Air, you would have had enhanced Wi-Fi, which is more susceptible to Wi-Fi interference. If you're in a neighborhood and you've got people with public Wi-Fi or whatever, there's a lot of things. I've even found, and I don't have it. You can't see the mic on me right now because I've got it in my pocket. I'm using the lavalier mic, but I found that this wireless microphone system that I use, I don't use it for my drone field test anymore because even with it did it with Mavic Air, but it also does it with Mavic Air 2. Sometimes it'll interfere with the audio. I've never had any problems with the drone, but it's interfered with the audio from the mic. So, what I would recommend, Mike, I would, if you've got a place that's completely isolated, maybe a field far away from any houses or cell towers or anything, go out there and try, see what happens. Mike says third flight seems all the time. Didn't think Wi-Fi was a factor. Have you updated your Mavic Air 2's firmware to the most current version? Have you updated both the firmware of the controller and the drone itself?
I'll tell you, as far as the biggest reason why I'd like the Mavic Air 2, I could afford it, but there's other things I'm trying to get to. But it's the AirSense. That's the biggest thing I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping even on the Mavic 3. Who knows? I'm hoping for late summer, just because I didn't get this one, But practicality, it makes sense next year too, with financial reasons of the market. But I'm AirSense. That's a big thing. It's obviously not every airplane or helicopter is going to have it, but it's always a good backup, and who knows with drone regulations and what's going on. I'm optimistic on that. I don't think we're going to get that screwed as a lot of people think, but who knows. But I think that's what I'm excited for, AirSense. And that's why I think possibly another, the Mavic 3 or possibly even an Inspire 3 could come out this year, because there's no way they would advertise back, I think it was back in the fall, that all their drones in 2020 would have AirSense. And then they only put one out that does have AirSense. Now, no one predicted the virus like what happened. But I still think there's room for maybe an Inspire. I know the Matrice came out, but I don't see them getting rid of the Inspire line either. If they keep I know you don't care for the Inspire because of the size, but if they kind of fade out the Phantom, which makes sense with making the Mavic their prosumer drone, keeping the Inspire, that is their next professional, more video platform drone over the Matrice series. I don't know too much about those, but from all the videos and everyone else I follow and stuff with that company, I think they'll have to release another drone this year. Unless they just fall on like their Osmo Action or their Osmo Pocket and just upgrade those as minor upgrades throughout the next 7, 8, or 6 months or so of the year.
Yeah, I bet, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I bet we probably will. My assumption is that Mavic 3, we're probably going to see, early 2021. Maybe they'll tease it at the end of the year. But I bet that we'll probably see another Osmo Action or Osmo Pocket by the end of the year. That's probably their their kind of holiday stocking stuffer type item, And then, the Inspire that you mentioned, and you brought up a wonderful point about AirSense. If you've got it on, Heck, you've got it on Mavic Air too, but you know they've got to, if they're going to continue to produce those other drones, which I'm sure they will, they're going to have to add that. And the Inspire, and you're right, I've never liked the Inspire. I always thought it was too big and too heavy. But part of that, and part of my, and I'll reveal this to everybody on the live show, part of my reasoning behind being so adamant about hating the Inspire, or creating the perception that I hated the Inspire, is that I was afraid they were trying to take their brand too upmarket, and they were trying to take their brand to a price point that would alienate a lot of hobbyists and you know, small business, drone business owners like ourselves.
I think it still has a purpose as far as, I mean, obviously the better the camera gets on the Mavic 2, Mavic 3, you know, most small real estate photographers that take pictures with, you know, drone photographers and whatnot, they won't get an Inspire because the cost won't outweigh the advantage of the pictures that are used for real estate or just general photography, or, you know, you don't need that quality for 90% of, or, you know, I don't know about 90, but probably 60% of the use case for typical drone flyers, you know, Mavic 2 Zoom, you know, it's just as practical. Or the Pro, you know, I wish I got the Pro back then, which I was hoping DJI would like doing that trade-in offer where you can, you know, trade in your drone. They'd switch out the cameras and whatnot for a couple $100 or so, and that fell through. But now I'm just waiting for the next big upgrade. That's kind of what I'm holding out for. But I don't think it Inspire's out of line. I mean, I think it does have a purpose. It's just few and far between, to say the least.
And it definitely has a purpose. And, you know, for, you know, kind of putting it into perspective with the film industry, and I'm not an expert with that, but you may or may not have heard there's cameras, they're called RED cameras, R-E-D. And I mean, they're super duper, you know, 25, 30, 40 grand or whatever, but, you know, those are the cameras that people that are creating, you know, high level short films, they need them. And the reality is that camera, that RED camera, you know, in comparison to the drone world, the RED camera is kind of the Inspire. And then you've got your prosumer camera and your prosumer drone, and your prosumer drone right now, currently right now, is a Mavic 2 Pro, which would be on par with, you know, in the camera world, it'd be on par with like a Sony Alpha, which is I use Sony Alpha. I mean, they're expensive, you know, they're a few $1,000s, but they're not, you know, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I mean, so I think, you know.
Is Sony Alpha, is that part of the A6400 line, or no? I'm not sure what the.
Yeah. So the A6000, the A6400, 6500, 6600, those three cameras, they're Sony Alpha, and they're what's referred to as APS-C, which is a crop sensor. And then you jump into the full frame cameras, which are like the A7 III, the A7R3, the A7 IV, and you know those are. And again, I use an A7R4. It's I mean, off the top of my head, was it the camera body maybe $3,000 US? I forget, but it's full frame. It's not cropped. It just creates that very professional image.
Like realistically, I would probably get a line from the A60, 400, A60 100, one of those for getting into real estate, and probably opening up not only drone, but actually inside photography too, to expand on that with this new business I'm slowly trying to gain traction on.
And an A6000 series is more than enough, man. You don't need full frame unless you're doing like portraiture.
But who else were you trying to? Was it Andrea that was possibly going to get in the video as well?
Well, it was Hybrid Life, and I got a pop-up, but after I got the pop-up, I didn't see them in the, so I've got a tool here. Actually, I'll just share this with everyone. Let me pull out what I can do with my iPhone is do do like a live camera. I'm going to pull this out and show y'all what I see. It's actually, you know, the interface is kind of clunky, but you know, the next time I do a live show, I think it'll be, you know, we've debugged the you know, the first timer issues. So let's see here, Wirecast Rendezvous. Let me see if this you've been invited to join. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to show you all my screen of what I see here. So let's see. I'm going to add my phone. And I should get a pop-up in the phone. Well, I should. Let me exit the app. That's the one thing, and I do love Wirecast, but this stuff is a little bit finicky. Okay, here we go. So it popped up my iPhone a second time. So one of them is an old instance, the other one's my current, so I got to try it again. I'm adding a shot, just like I added a shot for you when you went full screen. And, okay, here we go. So this is going to work. So now I've got my iPhone. So now what we're going to do is switch over so all the viewers can see what I see in this app, and I'll show you all firsthand how this appears on my end. So basically what I've got, Brad, can you see my laptop screen now on the YouTube? Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay. Should come up in a second. Let's see. Trelp says, this is cool. Trelp, I appreciate that, man. This is cool. So here's what I got, man. This right here is this is my laptop. Duh. So what I've got here, this first one, FHD capture, and you can see there, it's grainy, I'm sure, with the live stream, but that's me face on video with you in the top right. And then the next one's my intro segment, my outro segment, and then the Brad Hendo, that's you, and that's when I do full screen. So if I did you full screen, I would just click that. And if I did you on the top right, I would do that. Now, you know, when we get more people like Hybrid Life and all of that, I should be able to have Brad, Hybrid Life, and then be able to do multiple picture-in-pictures. So I can create a grid layout and make it look really clean for us. And then this right here is my iPhone that, you know, I'm showing you all this. But the app, let's see, let me pull the app up. So the app that I see you, so this is my Rendezvous interface. So I see you there, and I see me here through my FaceTime camera without the green screen. And the problem earlier when you pointed out the root cause, and that was the AirPods audio. I didn't have AirPods audio selected here, so that's what was causing us to fail in the beginning. Really cool, some cool content from this. You know, it's a little bit different, and again, you know, I'm not, you know, being a YouTube live person that hasn't really done a lot of more interactive shows. I can tell you, Brad, this has been awesome. Just the stuff that, you know, the knowledge that you brought to the table, the younger, and I'm not saying that in a bad way, but the younger demographic, which is cool.
No, I got that.
You know, pushing 40. I've always been a tinkerer, man. I mean, back in the day, and this was before your time, but back in the day, I did, it was MS-DOS before we had Windows. So we had a command prompt, and I started out with that, and I ran it was called a bulletin board service, which you had a modem, and people would call in, and this was before America Online, CompuServe, Prodigy, and AOL, and public internet. So it was kind of like the predecessor of the internet. So I've always been a tinkerer, and then, you know, YouTube came out, and it's like, you know, this is kind of the next, you know, social media is kind of the next big thing. And honestly, man, I mean, with drones and social media, we haven't seen the full potential of any of this yet.
My hope is that the live streaming capability, obviously with the better OcuSync, that's going to be great for social media. You know, I think it is going to be practical. I wish it was honestly better on Instagram. That's kind of the better photography and videography app. It's even more than Facebook. Instagram is the better app for live streaming nowadays. And even though it's vertical camera, I feel like I'm surprised because they don't work with Facebook on their live stream and it's not better integrated into the DJI drones themselves. That's just my take on that. But
It makes you, and that's a wonderful point. It makes you wonder if DJI would release if DJI is going to release some type of app that would. We've got Colin UK. A big hello from Liverpool, UK, the United Kingdom. Welcome aboard, Colin. Welcome back. Yeah, I mean it's once the drone manufacturers start to realize how their consumers are using the product, like you just said with Instagram, will we see instead of a widescreen, will we see the kind of, smartphone tall and narrow type format? That's very interesting. Brad says, yes, Mike, it does. It damages the motors. Oh, and Mike said, a few times I forgot to take off the gimbal cover. Does it damage the camera? That's an interesting point that you just made about that, because the DJI, and I don't know if y'all remember, and I'm trying to remember the drone, but when we first had one of those gimbal covers, it was somewhat transparent. So it's like, should I fly with that on or should I not? And obviously you should never fly with the camera cover on there because it could damage it. Why doesn't DJI put like a bright, let's say bright orange, bright red, whatever, remove before flight? I know you can get the aftermarket things you hang on it, but why don't they do that?
I think they're, as always, I always call them Apple of the drone industry. Obviously, their packaging reflects Apple. It's very clean, very white. Everything, even the stickers on the propellers and what to take off when you get the unboxing experience. Everything's really clean, and I think they're going to keep it that way as more the premium feel. Versus, I don't have Autel drones, but I see them as obviously they compete really well. They're a fairly okay competitor right now. Logistics problems from what I see. But I think I just don't see them doing that. I see them promoting, like on their website, they promote PGY Tech, those products, their accessory line. And most of their accessories match the color scheme of DJI drones pretty well. I don't see them going on that bright color, please remove, as because it might appear more tacky in a way to them. It might be more practical to the user. But, I think they're going over as far as their whole quality appeal. Maybe the hope that if someone buys this, they should probably, if you spend $1,200 on a drone, you'd hope someone would remember to take it off. But I've forgotten several times on my Mavic 2. It just slips. You do it so often, you fly one place, you go to the next place, you pack it up real quick, you forget. I just think as long as you don't overdo it, it's bad, it's not great, obviously, but it happens. But
it's kind of happened to me too, man. Like it's happened in the field a few times, but where it happens to me the most is when I bring it back, because I don't take out the micro SD card to import it into Final Cut Pro. I just power up the drone. And I stick in the Mavic Air 2's case, I stick in the USB-C cable to import the video, over USB instead of having to use the.
I take that SD card out every time. I use my computer elsewhere than where I store and charge up the drone and stuff. So I'm not around it. It's kind of off to the side in my office, and my computer I bring wherever, bedroom, living room is where I'm in right now. But I don't know. I always take the SD card out, as painful as it is. I found a trick, actually hold on, let me see if I can show you here. It's a Lexir. I'm sorry, I don't know how well it's going to show. It's a little Lexir micro SD card here. This is the best one. I don't know it. I got it with the SD cards. It's actually my drone SD card in here from earlier today. but it's able to, like, I don't know, it's got this little thing on the end where you can just pop it out, like push out the SD card. It works perfect.
That's
I've slowly
clean how
got
it's kind of got a curve on it. Like a lot of them, the full-size SD cards are, finicky and you got to pull them out the back.
It's got like a little lips. I don't know. It's hard to hold it up perfectly on my webcam. But it's
Yeah, I
got a
can
little
see it.
lip. And that's been my go-to. I'm surprised they haven't came up with a better method for the SD card, but I think it's all about being premium as far as how it looks and everything else. That it's a minor gripe as far as, they don't got anyone else to compete with them for the most part. So, if it's not as practical, it's a very minor gripe that people are still going to buy it.
Yeah, that's really, I love that, the slant on that versus the standard, SD card size with the little micro SD that pops in. Jeff says, "Hey, from Corinth, Mississippi, good barbecue there. You got the Rib Shack in Corinth, Mississippi. Spent many hours on the old bulletin boards. We had 3 in Mary. Interesting show. Yeah, bulletin boards, man. BBS is electronic bulletin board services. Dude, those things were cool. This was back, and everyone out there, people that remember the BBSs, the bulletin boards, you had the shareware CDs. This was back when the original Wolfenstein, and this was, before we had Doom, before we had Quake, before we had Unreal Tournament, any of the Unreal series, before we had Battlefield or any of that, just the really crappy graphics. You had Wolfenstein 3D. And I remember downloading that from, and then the door games, Usurper, Legend of the Red Dragon, really crazy stuff. I think what we've discovered, everyone, I think this, what we need to do for the live shows is that, and again, Hybrid Life, if you're watching this, if you're still on, which I think you may have logged off after the rendezvous didn't work. But what I think we figured out here is that on my end, I now know how to properly deliver the invitations to rendezvous. And again, I thank Brad for sticking with me, because we had audio issues, and Brad's like, "Hey man, check your mic within this," and I checked the mic, and sure enough, Brad was right, and that's what fixed it. So what I'd like to do for upcoming live shows, anybody that would like to be face on video and and join in, I think I can I'll have to check my subscription status to Wirecast, and if I need to upgrade it, I can. I may be limited to 2 guests right now, but I may not be. I'll have to see what license level I have with it. But I'd like to do more of these live shows where we have face on video, because the back and forth and, talking about, like-minded people talking about drones, it adds a lot of viewer engagement, and that's, it's exciting for everyone, versus just watching one dude on a camera. And so with that being said, Brad, I really appreciate you joining the show, sir. And if you'd like to join in the future, just let me know.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you having me on. I've followed your channel for a few years now, so it's nice to actually talk with you versus just to chat as well. But yeah, anyone else in here, please consider checking out my channel as well. Not as many videos, slowly, but just putting out videos here and there about travel as well as drones.
Brad, let me flash up a link to your channel here. I wonder if I can do that through Wirecast. Pop open the full page link.
I think you can screen share. I'm not sure exactly how, but
let's do that. I'm going to do that right now.
I'd say my latest video I put out on my channel, it's comparing the DJI Mini to the Spark to the original Mavic Air. It's just a quick montage of a few clips comparing the same video footage against each other using the 3 different drones. But I do have a really cool thing I'm working on right now as well. It's a waypoint hyperlapse. So since last August or September, I've been taking my Mavic 2 Zoom to the same spot. It flies the same 8 GPS waypoints. Currently, it's flying around a townhome construction project, building from the ground up. And it's currently, I've got one example that was put out there 4 months ago, but it's all meshed together where you see the motion of the waypoint as the time of year changes and so forth. But I'm hoping to work towards it for the next probably year or so. Every other week, every few weeks, run the same path, so it's the same video motion. And it's the biggest thing I'm undertaking right now, and just doing it for my own to make a cool video in the end to hopefully help promote, my channel as well as my business. That's my whole plan with it. But it's kind of cool to see. But I have an example of what it is on my channel right now.
Brad, let me interrupt you for a second. The link that I just pasted in chat, is that your correct channel link, or do you have a different one? Mike said it didn't work.
That's the correct link.
And just kind of a helper for you. Have you been able to create a custom URL yet, or does YouTube?
Yeah. It should just be. I don't know if it's. I thought I did.
So like for mine, for example, I'll say, they say, what's your channel name? And I'll say youtube.com/IrixGuy. Do you have something short like Brad Hendo or any other?
It should just be Brad Hendo. I created it, but it never shows in the URL when you're actually on your own page, from what my understanding.
Oh, that worked. Yeah, it didn't show. That was funny when I went to it. So everybody out here on the live show, and I'm pasting it again, all you got to do is go to youtube.com/Brad Hendo, and that'll take you to Brad Hendo's page. This is obviously Brad Hendo that's on the show with us tonight. So be sure to subscribe. And now you mentioned you've got a business page. Do you want to share that on the show, or is that something that...
Yeah, if you want to check out some of my latest things on Facebook, it's STL Aerial Solutions, based out of St. Louis, Missouri. It's still in the early stages. I do have one really cool picture. It's a tiny planet over downtown St. Louis in Busch Stadium. Probably my most successful picture through social media measuring, mainly on other platforms as well. But that's definitely the best way to find my business right now. Website is currently under development. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Hey man, I appreciate it, because this has been a good learning opportunity. I just posted your business's link. It's facebook.com/STL Aerial Solutions. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. And if you actually click on that link, you can see the main post, the pinned post. It's the one over the Anheuser-Busch brewery in St. Louis. That was actually taken back on Christmas Day this past year in 2019. It was like in the mid 60s or 70s outside. And like I said, I live out in St. Charles County, which is actually about 45 minutes from there. But we were at my uncle's place down in Soulard, which is where the brewery is located, on the outskirts of downtown. As you can clearly see the city skyline kind of in the back.
Yeah, you can see the arch, the famous arch.
Yeah, that was actually taken on Christmas Day this past in 2019 here.
That's a really cool photo, man. I mean, you can see Anheuser-Busch is pronounced, and then you've got the St. Louis skyline in the background. That is super cool. Dude, this has been awesome. And let's see, this show has been, God, we've been doing an hour and 30 minutes. So what I'd like to do, Brad and Hybrid Life, again, Hybrid Life, I apologize. Brad and I were kind of debugging this and we figured it out. What I'd like to do is encourage both of y'all and anybody else that's on this show, if you'd like to be a guest in an upcoming show, shoot me a message. The best way to do it is facebook.com/IrixGuy. because I think if we can kind of, I mean, I know we're all busy, we're all professionals, we've got multiple career pursuits, blah, 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 but if we could try to find at least a few times during the week that we might be able to join, I think this would be a really cool, really cool format going forward. So with that being said, Brad, I sincerely appreciate you tuning in, your patience, your knowledge, and helping me to get the mic sorted out. And
I wasn't sure if it's mine. Hopefully, my AirPods actually they haven't been working lately. I'm still trying to work on actually getting them linked to my computer. So hopefully, my audio is a little better next time as well.
Yeah, your audio's been on point, man.
Which is interesting because the video you're seeing and the audio you're seeing is literally the microphone and the webcam out of this 2015, 2016 MacBook. Just literally standard Apple MacBook audio and computer. So that's good if it's all suitable, at least.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. And it's funny you said that because the current model Mac, the 2019, they're still basically using the same webcam, 720.
Yeah. I want to get the 2020. I'd like to get it. It's fully spec'd out, the 13-inch, I think 32 gigabytes of RAM, and the better one, I forget what it is, the 10 or the i10 processor and stuff like that. I mean, that's running about $2,400 to how spec'd out I want it. So that's another financial decision I've been debating when it comes to what drone to get, what computer to get, eventually maybe a camera. It's, and
let me help you out on that. Hold off on the Mac because June the 22nd, Apple's having their WWDC, and the rumor is that the MacBook is probably going to switch to an Apple processor instead of an Intel processor.
I'm surprised they would come out with. I mean, they may announce it, but would they really come out with new laptops right away? I mean,
well, and see, there's been a lot of back and forth. There's been.
I guess they're just going to start manufacturing them with the Apple ones. It's going to be a rebranded with its 2020.5 or whatever with the rebranded Apple processors is my guess. But
and that's the guess of there was an article, I think it was Forbes. They said basically WWDC on the 22nd is probably going to be, they're going to release a new iMac, which is obviously their desktop computer. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to probably reintroduce the MacBook, which is below the MacBook Pro tier, and they're probably going to make the MacBook the first version that has the the Apple processor instead of Intel, and just kind of go through it because otherwise they create a lot of angry customers because they've got businesses that have purchased those super expensive Mac Pros, the desktop computers that can get very expensive, and then likewise they've had customers like myself that got the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and if they put something else out on the market, it could create a lot of friction. And the other thing is, from a developer's perspective, you've got to develop the app for Intel or another CPU architecture. So they've got that hurdle.
Yeah, there's so much that I want. I'd love the 16-inch. But I'm like, until I actually start making money and I really find the need to upgrade my computer as much as I personally want one, let alone starting this business, I'm going to hold off as long as I can, and as well as drone, hold off as long as I can until if anything worst case happened to my current one, and make my decisions kind of as need be versus as want. I don't think a new computer or a new drone is going to change the current path I'm on right now. So just keep doing what I'm doing, and same, maybe pushing harder too, but.
Keep the overhead low, man. Keep the overhead low. That's the best thing to do, for real.
But yeah, appreciate the show tonight.
Well, Brad, I appreciate you joining, and it's been I've learned a lot. I've learned, number one, how to set this up the next time we do a live show, and I'm also going to put a monitor up there beside my camera so that when we're talking we can see the viewers' comments, because that's the challenge I've got right now. I've either got to look down or I've got to look at my studio monitor on the wall. I don't have something right in front of me. So
Yeah, I know you got your camera station further back. I'm switching between the tabs on my browser right now. Yeah, we'll iron it out. Typically for me, the best time is late evenings. Probably like 7, 8 o'clock is typically when I'm best to tune in. Some of your earlier shows I'm missing for other reasons, but
yeah. Well, Brad, what I'll do, I've got your your message on Facebook. So if I know I'm going to be having an upcoming live show, I'll just shoot you a Facebook, and if you want to join, that's cool. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. And I'll do the same thing for Hybrid Life and anybody else that may want to attend these shows, because I think this is when we put all our heads together, especially with different different backgrounds, different age groups. I think that's a cool thing for viewers, because it's not your opinion, my opinion. It's kind of it makes it more exciting, if that makes sense. Makes it a lot more exciting. So,
sign out. I'll let you close out the show here for you. Okay.
Sounds good. Well, Brad, thanks for tuning in, sir. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the live show. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Y'all have a great evening. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like